Hi, my name is Michael. This is Ryan Michael Yoga. As you might know, maybe you're one of the students that likes to watch and take my classes. Um, Today we're not doing a practice, so today I'd just like to talk to you. Before we get started, though, why don't you hit subscribe for me if you haven't already, and maybe even share this video. Well, wait till the end, then you'll know it's worth sharing. So, what is it that I practice most? That's something that I've kind of wanted to talk about a little bit, is really what my yoga practice is. It's not a matter of being on the mat. Not at all. Really, I hardly practice, actually. I meditate more than I practice, and even then, it comes and goes, it seems like. But there's still a desire, a strong desire in me to do it because I really enjoy the practice. But I don't practice the physical yoga, what we would call it in the West. Sometimes I do. What I practice is conscious living. And this, in my opinion, is true yoga. Yoga in its most pure form is awareness of the body and of the mind and of the energy, of the breath, of all these different layers that exist within us as a physical being. Because, there's a physicality too, even the more subtle aspects of our body, like energy. There's a physicalness to it. There really is. So, being conscious in your day-to-day life, that's yoga. That can be yoga. So something like this. Really simple example. I'm just sitting here and I'm talking with you. But I'm being careful not to lose my place. I have a tendency when I talk, especially when I do these kind of things, that I would just ramble and go on and on. But instead I choose to stay here with you and talk. That's a very, very simple way of being conscious. You can just remain present with whatever it is you're doing. Whatever. Driving, that's such an easy thing to not be conscious in. How many of you drive somewhere and don't remember how the fuck you got there? Yeah. I used to do it all the time. And now I never do it because I love driving. Driving, when you get down to it, driving is like go-karting, but more intense. Way more intense. You have this 1,000-pound vehicle, a couple 1,000-pound vehicle maybe even, and you are careening down a highway with other 1,000-plus pound vehicles. How is that not adrenaline pumping? How is that not exhilarating? When you get used to it and you're no longer conscious of it, it's not exciting anymore. And that's the thing, is being conscious in your life brings excitement back into your life. So this is why it's so important to be conscious, in my opinion. As you know somewhere in you that consciousness is important, and being conscious specifically is important. And if you weren't conscious, then you would live this life that's completely influenced by everything around you. Do you want to be influenced by everything? The media, your friends, people you don't like, you're influenced by them. You are. I don't care who you are, but you're influenced. Until you become conscious and you start to see these things, aware of your present moment and the effects that the world is having on you, then you're not going to break free from that influence. This is something that's very, very, very important to me. Breaking free of the influence of others. And I'm not saying that because people have a negative influence. It's this that every little bit of influence that comes into me, comes into you, makes it harder to see with clarity, to see your own truth. However, that's not entirely true. It makes it harder because there's just more. It's like another distraction, you know. Being around people is very distracting, and it's not a problem. Don't feel obligated to lock yourselves away unless you want to. I do it sometimes. Sometimes I spend zero time at my house. Sometimes I go out and I be in public. But that's a different story. The point that I'm trying to make here is that, I said that that's not entirely true. Yes. So the thing is, you don't need to be clear-minded to see the truth of your nature. Silence Imagine a vast field of emptiness. Space, let's just say space. Imagine space out there, you know, beyond our atmosphere. There's not much there. Not much there. I mean, there's certainly something there, but for all intents and purposes, we can say that it's empty. Space has all these things in it. Planets, stars, galaxies. We are in space. Technically. We're not outside of our atmosphere, of course, but we are in the space of space. So you imagine this vast emptiness, and then you imagine the worlds that are in that space. The space doesn't disappear. It's just taken up by something. The same goes for your mind. The same goes for your being. In meditation, there's this connotation, there's this belief that you have to have an empty mind. Well, no. There is emptiness in your mind. You just have to see it. All the things that are in space around us are within emptiness. Emptiness exists first, and then things go in it. So you can imagine your mind is just like this. Already, it's empty. Every thought that comes in just takes up some space. It goes in, it goes out, it goes in, it goes out. Another one comes in, another one goes out, you know. This is how the nature of our thoughts really are. They kind of just, you know. But they don't... Excuse me. They don't remove space. It's like that one of those laws of physics, thermodynamics. Energy can't be created or destroyed. Whatever. I think, is that thermodynamics? Somebody correct me. I don't know physics very well. Except perhaps in a very, very applicable sense. In a very, very experiential sense. Anyway. So the space is taken up by things, but it doesn't go away. It's still there. It's just beneath the surface, behind the scenes. So all this activity, this movement of the body, movement of the mind, movement of energy, whatever kind of movement, it's all happening within space. You can see this space. You can perceive it, not with your eyes. There's nothing there. The eyes see the things that are within space. Without the things within space, why don't you find out which for yourself what would be there? I'm not going to tell you, nor can I really tell you. So, how to see this space? Well, this is quite the question. Because as soon as you start to intellectualize something like this, you start to focus on the words, the thoughts, the meanings, the definition, the ideas, the values, the beliefs, the concepts, the whatever. You start to focus on these things, and it's not the things that you're looking for. It's outside of the things. It's outside of our thoughts. We can do a very simple test very simple practice. No, very simple. Yeah, let's call it a practice. Very simple thing that you can do to access this space and kind of sort of get a feel for it. It's a little bit black and white. It's like the white. Well, I guess since we're talking about space, the black would be the empty space. Then the white will say our thoughts, which is good because I feel like white is usually good and black is usually bad. Strictly connotations, stereotypes, whatever. And in my opinion, the space is good. The thoughts are bad. That's, again, the universe is not black and white. Thoughts are not bad. They're just a little overwhelming sometimes, you know. So here's what you can do. This is something I got from Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I like Eckhart Tolle. Sounds... wow, that's what I started calling him, so that's from the get-go. So anyway, very, very simple. You close your eyes. Just take a breath or two. You don't even have to do that. But then you ask yourself mentally, what will my next thought be? Then you listen for your next thought. It's the act of listening that makes thoughts decrease. Generally, we're talking up here. But if we open our ears internally, then we can listen for the silence. And furthermore, we can listen for what our thoughts are saying. We're talking so much that we don't even hear ourselves talk. And thoughts create your reality. So if you want to create a better reality, become more conscious of the way you think. Become more aware of your thoughts. Do this practice, this simple practice. What will my next thought be? Then listen. Now, like I said, this is very black and white, because you have the thought and then the space to hear the thought. Work with that. And maybe you will come up with your own solution, but the key here is aiming for the silence. And remember, silence exists around thoughts, under thoughts. It does not go away when you're thinking. There is still silence. So anyway, thank you for watching. I have a Patreon account where I am now accepting subscriptions for support. I offer Yoga Nidra, which is the most beneficial practice for our time. I don't care who you are. It will be beneficial for you. We do a live monthly Yoga Nidra, and then I also offer the recordings for the higher donation levels, subscription levels. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a nice day.